What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and jump right into this topic. So there's been a lot of talk about V alternate arts, especially from Evolving Skies. Some of that is due to probably the drama of Pokerev saying that he prefers the Umbreon V over the Umbreon Vmax. And honestly, I think a lot of us are right there with him. I think that it is no debate that the Vmax cards, the Vmax alternate art cards, have way more detail and are far more beautiful. But does that necessarily mean that they should be worth more by design? Now, by rarity and pull rates, they're going to be worth more. But in terms of debating the actual artworks, I gotta say, a lot of times when comparing versus the Vmax alt arts versus the V alt arts from the exact same Pokemon, a lot of times I think a lot of us, especially OG Pokemon collectors and fans alike, I think are going to pick the V alt arts. And I'm going to explain all of that and why I feel that way in a minute here. But before we go ahead and do that, I wanted to go ahead and open up a gift that we got here. I forgot to do it last video, talking about the Southern Islands binder, and I'm now a day ahead on my videos, so it's hard to be super relevant on YouTube if you're a day behind on your uploads. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this. A fan and subscriber came into the bar. They, just by coincidence, the Airbnb that they had for their friend's bachelor party was right next to Starlight on 22nd, the bar that I own and operate. And they came in just to check in and see if I was there, and sure enough, I was there. We ended up chopping it up for a couple hours. He took a photo with me. I was so happy. I was so happy that someone came in to see me from YouTube, essentially, and then I got to connect with an actual subscriber. Yeah, he wrote this little bit, and there's a card in here. So let's go ahead and open this up. To Orion Sires, congratulations on 5,000 subscribers. I've been lurking and following your videos since probably half that amount, but I'm super glad I got to finally meet you in person in Charlotte. This card is what got me into the hobby by following my favorite mangaka, Haruko Ichikawa from Land of Lustrous. So that is an anime. We talked about that briefly, and the anime writer or illustrator of that anime has actually done cards in Pokemon. I'm guessing that this card was one of the cards that anime illustrator also did. And then it says dash from Inspira Shamu. So I'm not going to say his actual last name for privacy reasons, but yeah, here's the little card right here. And then he signed it down here. Really, really nice of him. Let's go ahead and open this up. Yo, appreciate you, brother, coming by the bar, checking it out. I hope that you see this video. I hope if you're watching, you see this video. This is all about you, man. I really, really appreciate this. No matter what this is, it's about the thought that counts. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. 3, 2, 1, wham! And it's a Deancey. So definitely the card that we were basically talking about. I believe this is a Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery. Yeah, Galarian Gallery 13 of 70. There are so many Galarian Gallery cards from Crown Zenith. Arguably, this is why Crown Zenith is super undervalued. There's so much that set has to offer, and it's kind of sad to see that it's still undervalued, but I think eventually we're going to see a move. I just think it's really, really tough to tell when sets are printed to the ground like this, and just special sets in general. It's really tough to tell. I think that 151 excels above and beyond, and the price is showing that and holding up, but 151 is also the OG Pokemon, the original 151. It's built different, right? Old heads are gonna love that set. But yo, appreciate you for the Deancey, brother. That is awesome. And just thank you for coming out to Charlotte and coming to see me. I am gonna keep these things together as a nice memory, and probably tape this up on the wall behind me. That's awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this. So here I have my Rayquaza Vmax. We've got my Rayquaza Vmax, and you can just see we're just going to compare right now these two cards. You can see all of that detail. You can see all that detail and the sparkle on there. It is an absolutely magnificent card. When we look at the standard V, right, and anybody that's collecting Pokemon, you don't need me to tell you this. You already know this, but let's just talk through it for anybody that's new or anybody that's even considering buying the Umbreon V, because that card, since Pokerev spoke on the fact that he preferred the V over the Vmax, that card has skyrocketed. And I just want people to think, before they go and buy a card like that, don't buy a card like that for that much money. Do not do that. This is a pump. This is artificial. This is inflated. This is, in my opinion, not real. If you already bought the card, I'm not trying to rip on you. Maybe the card holds up value and it keeps going, but I highly doubt it. I don't think that's going to happen. I think people are going to get caught up in the haze of the hype and the FOMO and the pump train, and they're just going to get screwed on that card. But let's go ahead and let's look at the other version of this card, and I'll explain why I could or would like the V more, but ultimately, no matter what I think, no matter what opinions we have, the facts are the facts. The VMAX alt arts are harder to pull than the V cards, which makes them undoubtedly more valuable. Also, there is a lot more detail. There's a lot more sparkle, and these alt arts, these VMAX alt arts just pop off. Everybody knows that. The Vs just aren't the same, but they are still beautiful and should be appreciated. And I think the Umbreon V probably was a little undervalued, and I think the Rayquaza V is probably undervalued. But again, we're not debating the true market values here, okay? The Umbreon VMAX, Rayquaza VMAX, and any other VMAX compared to their V counterpart are always going to be more valuable. Let's just get that straight. There may be some freak thing where a V becomes way more valuable than its VMAX counterpart. Now, there are other examples like Dragonite V, the other EV evolutions as Vs and not VMAXs, and, Lugia V, Brilliant Stars Charizard V. There are cards that don't have a VMAX counterpart in that set that they're correlated with, that are just magnificent. And the Vs, I love the Vs because they don't have the VMAX clouds. They don't have, which reminds me of the Terra crowns that we have, the Terra Crystal crowns that we have in Scarlet and Violet that I think are atrocious. And luckily, we've had so many great illustrations and artworks, and 151 got us to take a break from that kind of style of artwork. Yarios, quiet, or I'm going to have to bring you in here and show you to the rest of the world. I don't bring my dogs in here a lot, and that's just because they're little yappers, and I don't want them to be yapping during the video. And, we have Maddie, who's, a pit bull, and she's a sweetheart, and she honestly doesn't bark or yap that much, but I'm in the zone when I'm in the room. So let's go ahead and look over this Rayquaza V. I'm even going to take this out of the top loader since we can. Even take it partially out of the sleeve. Just get a really, really nice close look at this card. I did not pull this myself. I picked up some extra copies of Vs sometime like last year. Maybe it was at CollectCon. I picked up some extra Vs. I also picked up some VMAXs. Then at Regionals, I picked up some more alt arts just because I was like, I'll grab a couple more, whatever. I think in a lot of ways, it's because you actually get to enjoy the cards. It makes more sense to buy a lot more alt arts, but everybody knows at this point, sealed product is pretty much king when it comes to like laid back investment strategies. So let's go ahead and look at this V Rayquaza. This card, in my opinion, absolutely trumps the VMAX version. Now, there's only one reason that I feel like it doesn't, and that is because of Zinnia and Whismur being in the shot. I know that people are probably not going to agree with me on this, but you take Zinnia out of this card could have been absolutely incredible with the sky in the back. It could have been one of the best Rayquaza cards of all time. They've been doing this thing in Sword and Shield. They did this thing. Basically, all of the Pokemon are facing away from your perspective, looking at them. Lugia facing away. Brilliant Stars Charizard facing away. Rayquaza facing away. Umbreon Vmax is facing away looking at the stars. So we get that trend a lot out of this set, and I'm okay with that. But if these guys weren't a part of the card and it was just all blue sky and Rayquaza, this card arguably, in my opinion, is better than the Vmax counterpart. But that's not the case. Zinnia's in there. It is what it is. And, you know, there's nothing we can do about that. So I still love the card. I would still freak out if I opened an Evolving Skies pack and pulled an Alt Art Rayquaza. The only Alt Art I've gotten from Evolving Skies was a Leafeon V so far, but even that was incredible. I mean, it was so hyped to even pull one Alt Art from Evolving Skies. Now we take a look at our Rayquaza Vmax, okay? His Vmax form, he's a lot larger, hence why he's, you know, the same size of these trees, and that's all fine. Could the Vmax have just had like a red hue around it maybe, the way he looks right now, without the Vmax clouds? For me, the Vmax clouds really deter from the artwork and draw attention away from the actual Pokemon itself. So I think a lot of us can agree that we hate the Vmax clouds. Yes, there's a function for it. Yes, it's the format that Sword and Shield used. You know, and it also goes into competitive playability. The Vmax cards are more powerful, but at the end of the day, we're talking about design here. We're talking about style, and we're talking about collectability. And it's, you know, the texture on the card and that hollow flake that's in the card. It's absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But for me, the Vmax clouds up here just really take away from the card. It really just doesn't look good because of that. You know, I bought a lot of Alt Arts just based on the fact that I wanted to have them for the sets, but not necessarily because I was crazy about the Alt Arts. I just thought in comparison to some of the cards I'm going after now, they seemed really, really cheap. Like, you know, Umbreon Vmax, when I bought it raw, was $500, and that came back as a 10, which honestly, I'm kind of surprised that it did. I didn't expect that, and that was a really, really nice surprise. And then the fact that this Rayquaza Vmax, which, if we look at this again, this card is definitely off-center. It's definitely off-center. It is undoubtedly off-center. You guys might not be able to tell, but I can definitely tell by looking at it. And this one got a 10 as well, which tells me that they are definitely handing out 10s with Modern. But honestly, compared to the Umbreon V from Evolving Skies and the Rayquaza V, you know, against the Rayquaza Vmax, like, dude, the V Alt Arts can look better, so I understand why he said that, and I don't think that it's a problem that people responded to it necessarily. I think it's just more of like, use your head, don't act on hype or what some influential YouTuber says. Even if I have opinions, you shouldn't act on them. I think it's pretty crazy that the price on, I think it was TCG Player, shot from like, I don't know, $80 to like 200, 250. Like, dude, guys, oh my God, that is one of the wildest things that has happened in a minute. And there's so many things going on in this hobby that I want to talk about. Big sales that have happened, auctions that have happened. But I just, like, in recent news, like, that just shocks me that people are buying that heavily into the Umbreon V. I have one in my binder, otherwise I would have shown it today and compared it to the Umbreon VMAX, but I really didn't feel like digging it out of my Sword and Shield binder. All of my binders are on the ground, stacked against each other, and like, honestly, it's one of those things where it's all neat, it's all nice, it's all there, so like, I just don't want to mess with it. But in honor of loving some of these V cards more, we're going to open up real quick a Brilliant Stars pack, see if we can get that Brilliant Stars Charizard. That is probably one of my all-time favorite cards out of Sword and Shield. I would say the Blaziken probably takes the cake. With Blaziken, I didn't even remember noticing the VMAX clouds. I think that's why I really, really like the Blaziken VMAX, is because it's just when cards put more emphasis on the Pokemon and less emphasis on those clouds, or anything else on the card, it just looks really, really good. And I think for that reason, V cards are just awesome. They just undoubtedly look better style-wise than the VMAX cards do. Even like, and some of the cards, their VMAX versions, like I wish Fusion Strike had a Gengar V, like a regular Gengar V. Why didn't they do a regular Gengar V in Fusion Strike? It would have been amazing. So I really think the V also gives collectors something that they're really excited about that is a slightly easier to pull card, as well as the full arts. Some of the full arts just look amazing. Full arts are super undervalued. Okay. Or no, not undervalued. That's the wrong word. Full arts are super underrated. Okay. I never pull anything out of my Sword and Shield pack, so just to brace you guys, it's probably not going to be crazy, but let's go ahead and dive into it. Little opening to end the video on a good note. Whoa, focus in on it, camera. Crawdon, I love Crawdon, he's sick. Shinx, Farfetch'd, Execute, Grimer, Clefairy, and we get a Monferno reverse. Oh, we got an Arceus full art. Let's go. Arceus, dude, right as I was talking about full arts. This is crazy. Out of all the packs I open, I never get anything really fun. And I just opened a random pack for this video. And we got an Arceus full art. Yo, let's freaking go. Let's go. And the centering looked like it's decent on it. Centering's really good. What a beautiful card with that pink background. Arceus is definitely growing on me. Yo, this is definitely... We've got a 10 contender right here. Easily. Like, I'm not confident on cards at all, but I think this is a 10 contender. Let's look at the front here. You guys can be the judge. You look at that centering. The centering's pretty good. Centering's pretty good. See if it'll zoom in on that bottom edge. Maybe a little thicker on the bottom. The centering's really good. And if we look at the back here... Aspen's just going off right now. Aspen! Anyway, I love you. We got the back here. Yeah, Dada's almost done. We got no whitening on this card at all. Like, no whitening at all. But anyways, I don't really grade cards. That's not really my thing. I really want to get into it. I feel like I might have to grade some cards just to see if I can regrade some of them. Like, I've been toying with the idea nonstop of cracking my BGS Rayquaza Gold Star and sending that into PSA. And I think at the very least get a 9, but I see Rayquaza Gold Stars that are PSA 10. There's 2 on eBay that are 70 Gs, or at least I think they're 70 Gs or more. And like, there's whitening on the corners of those cards. So I'm like, I know the old certs got by a little easier, but I honestly feel like my BGS with I think it has one 9.5 subgrade. It's all 9s and then one 9.5 subgrade, I think was the centering, which is really, really important with PSA. So I don't know. I feel like instead of buying a Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 9, I should just send it in. But yeah, like I said, there's few cards that I'm going to do grading with, but in some cases I might have to just to try and wing it and take a risk. But if you know anybody with a Gold Star Rayquaza PSA 9 and they're willing to actually work out a reasonable offer, I'm looking right now. We are so close, guys. We are so close to finishing the Gold Star set. I'm so excited for that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this whole Umbreon V thing. Do you prefer the V cards over the Vmax counterparts, and why? And do you guys think that this price could in any way sustain? I don't. You can explain to me if you think why it would. Evolving Skies is getting really, really popular right now. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's buying it. I've always loved the design of the box and the cards in the set. I have no plans of selling my boxes anytime soon, but that's just strictly because I don't really need the money. And unless we had some big life change come up, buying a new house, maybe an emergency, or buying a big family SUV, I don't know. I would definitely want to put that money towards something good because I know I don't need the extra booster boxes of Evolving Skies. And honestly, the price is getting kind of wild. I feel like Evolving Skies is the type of box that should probably top out around $2 or $3 grand. And that's like in 5 years plus. Like, the fact that it's already basically $1,000 box, some people are going to say, no, Orion, I don't know where you're getting your numbers from. It's a $700 box. But there have definitely been some wacky sales out there for people that have overpaid. So I feel like the box is already worth $1 grand. But it'll be interesting to see how that moves forward. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of the whole V versus Vmax debate. I think it's kind of interesting, and I'm kind of glad that PokeRev said that. You know, we need big creators influence, you know, especially for talking about topics like this that I wouldn't have even thought otherwise. So I'm actually grateful that he ended up bringing that up. And I think a lot of people would agree that the Umbreon V sitting on the stoop without any of the Vmax clouds, with the moon behind it, basically looking superior to everyone below him, I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. But the Umbreon Vmax card looks amazing too. Again, all the detail that's in those Vmaxes. Anyways, peace out, guys. I'll catch you on the next one, and I will see you guys for another discussion stream for Wednesday's live.